consumer is your most powerful asset. Because once you get to that consumer and you get a really good consumer base that really, really likes your stuff, they're going to share it internally. They're going to share it at work. They're going to share it with their friends, their sorors. Once you get that, you make sure that you build relationships every place that we've ever done work.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's segment right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. I am your show host, Megan Young Gamble, Chief Project Officer, Packaging Specialist at GLC, your packaging and project execution team. And I am so excited to have today's featured powerhouse. And let me just share who he is before I tell you his name, because he has a lot of experience. He is out here shaking and baking out here in the industry. And that's why he is a powerhouse in his respective industry. So today's powerhouse guest is the CEO of Black Spirits Legacy, who is dedicated to promoting Black-owned spirit brands and expanding their distribution opportunities. As the creator of Taste of Black Spirits, he hosts various events in various cities, which we're going to talk about his upcoming tour, the Collective Behavior Tour in 2025. But he also wants to make sure that he is highlighting 60 plus Black owned brands to ensure that they are getting the representation, help exposure for diversity in the beer, wine, and spirits industry, and also making sure that they have access to capital, which he talks about in his docuseries, In Good Spirits. He is a proud father, proud husband. He also works in the entertainment industry, operating the film festivals in Detroit. So wake the hell up, Detroit, if you know that from the episode of Martin. And also, he is doing his own thing and making sure that he is making a positive impact on the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's powerhouse guest, Mr. Lazar Favors. So, welcome to the house.
Thank you. People call me Laser. It's actually Lazar.
Lazar. Thank you for correcting me.
No, man, don't worry. Listen, when I get my coffee out here, they always call them layers. I don't even correct them anymore. I'm just like, okay, don't worry about it. I get it, but it's okay. You know. So,
no, we gonna have that right. And I said, you know what? I went through all episodes, and I was like, okay, Lazar, and here I go mispronouncing. So, talk about to my pregnancy brain today, okay? So
she's pulling all your. I got it. I understand that. Believe me.
And
so thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. That's great.
Yeah, of course. So I'm so excited to have you on today's segment to talk about Black Spirits Legacy, all the things that you're doing around the company, the upcoming tour, and why this is so important to highlight Black-owned brands in the beer, wine, and spirits industry. And so nobody can do an introduction like yourself. So I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself, how you got into the wine and spirits industry, and what led you to create Black Spirits Legacy.
Thank you for that. Well, I'm Lazar Favors. I live in Detroit, from Detroit. We created it in Detroit. I think when I first started in the industry, the spirit industry, it was I partnered with the fastest growing whiskey brand in American history. The fastest Black-owned whiskey brand in American history. When I say partner, I mean I wasn't an employee. I was a partner. We brought them to Michigan. And from there I learned a lot about spirits, because I never worked with spirits prior to that. 2017. I learned a lot about it. I learned a lot about the industry, about the hiccups, about what could happen, the possibilities. Because again, this brand, although the largest, is still a Black-owned minority, what they consider a minority brand at that time, with a mega story attached to another mega brand. So I studied that brand. I studied the way their guidelines were, which were impeccable. Their CEO over there was phenomenal. She's phenomenal. Did a great job in their teachings. I just added my value to what they had already had structured, and I implemented it in Michigan. So during that relationship, I sought after other I said, I just know it's got to be more. It's got to be more of us doing this thing. This can't be the only one, and let alone not just the only one. It can't be the first, and it wasn't, right? So as I moved into that space for the next following years, I found a few great products. Vanessa Braxton, who owns Black Mama Vodka, had been around since 2012. Ken Wyatt, his vodka has been around since 2004, right? Out of Idaho. Most of these things we don't know because they're not, again, they're in this business, they're working in this business, but they're under the radar for whatever reason, right? And then, of course, Jackie Summers, who was the first African-American individual, to secure a license to sell liquor in the United States. So as I'm doing this work, I come across these folks. I started working with a brand called Duke and Dame. Shout out to Armani and Chima. Duke and Dame started Caramel Whiskey. You know, we brought that to Michigan. That's like one of the funnest relationships I've ever had because the whiskey is priced right. It's called Duke and Dame. There's so many things we can bounce off of that. I love that. Those guys are very, very hard working with that product. So I pick up a lot of great people along the way. So once we got to Duke and Dame, it just, again, me and my partners, we start thinking, we had a lounge, right? So we had a lounge, a little small lounge there for like 5 years. And one day I walked into the lounge and I looked on the shelf and all I saw was the two products I mentioned and then the E40 product. Everybody else was everybody else. I called my little sister and I'm like, yeah, come get all this off my shelf, right?
Oh, wow.
Cleared the shelf, broke out my Google, found two things, right? I found a list of Black-owned spirits, about 44 to 48 products with their email addresses, owners, brand names, and that list was up under a young woman named Ashley. Her website is Will Drink for Travel, right? So when I searched Black-owned spirits, that website came up. I didn't say it was Black-owned, it just said Will Drink for Travel. But in that list, from there I found Happy Cork, which is in Brooklyn, and they literally, at that time, Sunshine had just started shipping outside of New York. And for those who don't know, you have a certain amount of liquid you can ship to another state. If you get approved to ship to another state outside your state, there's only so much you can ship, and then you can't ship for about 2 to 5 years, right? So within that first year, I took all of the product that she could ship to Michigan to build out our first and second Taste of Black Spirits. So we started Taste of Black Spirits in 2021, May 2021. And at that time, we didn't think about it being the first of its kind here in Detroit, in Michigan. It wasn't even us trying to, I don't even say, it ain't even prove a point. It was bringing awareness. Like, we need to know this because we spend our money in this space. And when I say we spend our money, I mean Black people spend their money, $3 billion in this space, right? So this is information I'm learning because I'm all in now. And This first year. So first year, I'm just soaking it. I'm a student first year, and I'm taking it all in. And once we saw it, it was the locomotive. It was a locomotive time. So, we started in 2021. It was very successful. We did 3 that year. So we did 2 in Detroit and 1 in West Michigan, which is Grand Rapids, all successful. And that's when we decided, like, yeah, this is bigger than Nino Brown.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's a testament to, one, what I say on the podcast, always staying a student and really immersing yourself in the industry to understand who are the first, like you mentioned with Jackie Summers, first secure a license to sell liquor, to understanding like with the Braxton, and they have their own liquor, their own liquor line, to all these other Black-owned liquor companies and distilleries and such that is out there. The only thing that most people know about is when there's a collaboration with a major existing company. So we ain't gonna say Diddy. We're gonna skip that right now. But when Rick Ross did his collaboration, when Snoop Dogg has done his collaboration with 19 Crimes, and now Beyonce, collaborating with Moet Hennessy and the Louis Vuitton brand. That's the only thing we know about. But like you said, we have so much influence in spending over $3 billion in this industry. Why is there not more access and knowing about these Black-owned brands that have been around for years? So I commend you and your efforts and your team for really highlighting this and giving exposure to these brands, because we only know about the ones that are typically said, right?
Right.
But this is the biggest opportunity to really highlight and really encourage and patronize these Black owned brands. And so, since you have the collective tour and you've been doing this since 2021, share with us, in 2025, like some of the cities you're hitting. What are some of the brands that people can see and learn about, and how to get involved?
Well, yeah, thank you. So the collective behavior tour, right? Somebody was like, what does that mean? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
it's how you behave, right? Your grandparents always say you behave appropriately, right?
Yeah.
If you have a little sister or a little brother and y'all go to the same school, the behavior is you do not leave that child, right? You come
Yeah.
home together, you leave together, you come home together. So for me, as we've built Taste the Black Spirits, our first city outside of Detroit was Brooklyn. It was very successful. And the reason for Brooklyn is because, the old saying is if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
New York, I'm not gonna say it was a hard sell. I just say I like to go to the top. Like, okay, they say this is how y'all act in Brooklyn. Well, let's see, right?
Yeah.
When I say let's see, I'm not coming in no kind of way disrespectful or forceful. I'm coming to meet and greet and talk and build and partner with whomever wants to partner with this vision, right?
Yeah.
And arms open, right? Sunshine, Jason at Dinner Thieves, of course, Vanessa also, Anthony over at Bakila. They are brands that are from New York. Frisky Whiskey, Nicole. So they all embraced me, and we put the thing together, and we worked hard, and we made Brooklyn. I mean, we made Brooklyn crazy phenomenal. And on top of having Brooklyn, we also had Ron Isley. Right. Ron Isley launched his product with us in Brooklyn. It was crazy, right?
Wow.
So factor all those things in, and then think about when I walked in that door for the first time, I think we had 94 brands in this space. I think we had about 750 guests, and just watching folks interact and engage with each other I'm looking at the brand owners describe, talk, and tell their stories to consumers. I'm talking about holding court, literally. That energy for me is exactly what I wanted it to be. It's like
Yeah.
that's important because now we had a room full of people who will tell other people, right? If we had 700 people, we're looking to at minimum tell 2,800 people, right? At
Mhm.
minimum. So we thought about it. We was like, okay, Brooklyn. We did Brooklyn. It was fire. It made some noise, right?
Okay.
So my team was like, well, what we doing next? I'm like, we're gonna do Miami in February of 2024. And
Okay.
it's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm already planning. I went from New York, end of Brooklyn, 2 weeks later went to Miami, right? And
Wow.
talked to Miami, built some relationships, and we also had some brands, Duke and Dane, Fort Mose, Ingenious, Red Hazel, available in Miami. So it just made
Mhm.
sense to visit those states that have a nice amount of blackness in certain spaces, like Miami, Overtown, and that space, that area, in the culture, right, in the history.
Mhm.
But it just made sense to partner with history. History fuels what it is we're doing. And when we did Miami top of February 2024, and in 24, we did Brooklyn again, which again, now Brooklyn is on automatic pilot, right?
Okay.
We decided to do Houston in November of 2024. Houston, it's a venue in Houston called the Community Collective for Houston. It's a Black-owned space. It's probably 20,000 square feet. It has 4 ballrooms. When I say beautiful, I mean just beautiful.
Nice.
Just full-blown kitchen that services about 4 Black-owned restaurants. It's just beautiful.
Wow.
Like, hands down, I wish I had one of those in every city, right? So we partnered with that group and the people from Houston. It was phenomenal. As soon as I left Houston, I'm like, it's the collective behavior tour. Now if you ever seen anything, if you ever seen me on any podcast, anything like that, I've been talking about collective behavior for about 2.5 years, right?
Mhm.
Not realizing that is what we're going to title it. I sat down in November and I knew that was it because it makes sense. When you think about November, you think about the decisions that were made in November that we couldn't control. It's like, this is necessary. This
Yeah.
is what's going to catapult us into a space where we can think, move, and do for ourselves, right? Like really be intentional about it. Not only intentional, autopilot, unconditional thinking, and it happens, right? So the tour this year is going to be crazy, but it's also going to be just 3 times as impactful, right? And what I mean by that is because not only are we producing it in Miami, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Detroit, and Houston, it's 2 or 3 days, and you get the first day of education. You get it full blown, talking about how to get money, work money, use money, save money, right? You're getting that. Like I'm talking about when I say you're getting it, you're gonna get that. You're gonna walk away with a better credit score, pretty much, right? Or even a larger pocket, because those folks are there not to just tell you about it, but to really show you how to do it, to really schedule time with you to do it, right? We've been in those markets, like really talking to the community, the restaurants, retail, distributors in that space, really building the awareness of it. Because for me, Taste of Black Spirits is about the town it's in, right? I build it around the energy and the people that occupy that space, because I just want them people to believe. I just want them people to turn their switch on. They have it. Everybody has their superpower. I just want them to turn their switch on. If I'm there and I can fuel it just enough, or give you a ladder so you can reach that switch, just hit the switch. I'll be back.
I love that.
It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be. It's going to be crazy.
And listen, at the time of this recording, guys, I am expecting my child and on the countdown. But when he comes to Atlanta, I cannot wait to kick off Leo season. Y'all know that's my favorite time of the year. I cannot wait to partake in my favorite beverage, which is an old fashioned, and to be able to see and meet some notorious brands that are out there as well. So I'm excited for this event. And guys, the information will be down in the show notes for you all to definitely send your information, read about how you can get involved in the collective behavior tour in the various cities that he mentioned. If you're also checking us out respectfully on YouTube, make sure you do click the link down in the show notes and also on the screen so you can get your tickets and see how you can participate in the collective behavior tour as well. Because it's going to be, like you said, iconic. So we want to make sure we're keeping that energy and definitely helping to bring a friend. So if you bring one, tell them to bring 3, then those 3 bring 10. Y'all know how it goes. So it is all about
tell somebody.
Exactly. So that's what it's all about. And so, since you talked about a little bit about what to expect over those 2 to 5 days, respectfully, in each city as part of the collective behavior tour, you said day 1, you're automatically going to get an increased credit score and social score. So, with that, you're talking about retail, distribution, wholesaling, and more. And so, a lot of brands, from my experience, always want to jump right to retail and right to distribution. But you have to start at the beginning, which is having an effective marketing strategy. And so I would love to hear from you as you have this platform, you're really big about education. How do you ensure and really teach the brands that you're collaborating with and working with the importance and the essentials of having an effective marketing strategy?
Well, I always start with how I start with filmmakers, right? It's when someone tells you I'll give you an example. If an actor come to me like, yeah, I want to be like Denzel. Okay, I hear you. What did Denzel do to be Denzel? Are you willing to do what he did to be him, right? Denzel to date still goes to acting class. To date, he's 70 plus years old. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to take yourself out of the equation? Because it's not about you. You have to take yourself out of the equation. So if I write a script and I bring you to the table and you read the script and then you say to me, well, that's not something I would say, then that means you're not in character. That means you shouldn't be at the table, right? So I use that type of thought process, because when a product comes, they're excited about their bottle. We understand. It's like having a new CD, a new album, right? They're excited about their bottle, and most have an idea of where they want to go and what they want to do, but sometimes not even the means or not even the workforce behind it. So before I tell brands, before you present something, let's look at it. Let's evaluate it. Let's call in 20 people in the room and set it in between 10 other bottles and just see what they say, and see what they grab unconsciously without thinking. Just see where they go with it, right? What they touch before they taste. Just see what they touch. I said, if your bottle has no identity, right, in the room, then let's work on it. Let's figure out, okay, who's your audience? Okay, what is your story? Let's be clear. Be clear about your story. What is your story? Tell me this. Don't tell me, well, I just wanted to do a brand because I like tequila. That ain't the story. Don't do that one. Like, I hear you, but don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you want to be successful. There's so many different routes, and everybody's route is not the same, right? Even with celebrity brands, even their route is different and sometimes challenging also, depending on the celebrity, right? So, for an example, there's a product out of Michigan. The quality of the product is great. The visual is like, we remember the home Epson computers that we used to get back in, and it runs out of ink almost after 4 prints.
Yeah.
It's like that, right? Which is not a diss. It's just like, I want you to believe in it. Because if you're showing me visually that you don't believe in it enough, or you don't even support it enough, then why should I pick it, right? You have your product has to dance, right? What I mean by that is it has to make me excited about it, right? I have to look at it and be like, oh, I love that, and then let me taste it. I love that. But that's just the beginning. That's not even getting to market. That's not even getting to distributing or shelf. That's just the early stage.
Yeah.
So number one, don't rush it. Why? Why rush it? If you wanted to win, concentrate, right? It takes practice. It takes rehearsal to do a great show, right? I remember seeing the Fresh Fest in 88, right? LL Cool J came out of big radio on the stage. Very well rehearsed stage show presence, exactly, right? So don't rush it. Number one, don't rush it. Make sure that you are presenting something visually that somebody is going to be attracted to.
Thank God.
Number two, own your hometown, right? If I'm from Detroit, I am from here, 1,000. I am Detroit all day, every day.
Okay.
It's an absolute for sure thing. I'm going to raise awareness to who I am and what I do first here, because my hometown is going to spit me out everywhere else. They'll be like, oh, you heard about my man? You know how I go. You know the language. You know the conversation. So start home. Take care of home. Because home is usually the hardest, especially when you're from the D. Like, hey, Detroit is rough on you. Okay?
I'm going to say, y'all are raw. Like, raw.
Rough on you. So just making sure you're taking your time, identify your audience or your consumer, and then see what that consumer likes. What is that consumer doing? A friend of mine, Jamari Pinkhart, he was on one of our panels, and he's phenomenal, right? He says, identify your audience and then fuel them, talk to them, engage with them, inbox them. What's the other thing called? DM them with people. But DM, it just was weird to me after the song, sorry. But DM.
I know what you're talking about. That's why I'm just like, I got you.
He said, stay in constant contact until they respond, right? And once they go out and purchase your product, ask them, hey, how did you like it? Like, just stay, because the way society and technology is right now, we see how people build audiences these days, right? In my era, when I was DJing, this is a fun fact, when I was a DJ and a break dancer back in my era, I used to have to go to the record store, or I used to be in a record pool, and we literally had to get them delivered or go pick them up. It's not the same. It's almost automatic, right? Use your platforms to the fullest. Don't be on your platform. If you got a product, because if you ever seen our pages, I don't talk about nothing else but what we talking about. There's nothing else to talk about on that page. It's all about that.
Yeah.
So give me a picture of you with your muscles out, you know what I'm saying, or your new hairstyle in the same context as you would deliver your product, like, because it's confusing. Stay focused on the product. If it's about the product, let's focus on the product, and let's draw attention to the product. Let's work that product every single day, every angle you possibly can, because there is no wrong way to work an angle. You just got to figure out which one works for you.
Oh, wait, guys, he just gave us a whole masterclass right here. And that's just a taste of what you can expect at the Collective Behavior Tour. Yeah. And you hit on a few points that I always tell my clients, and it shows similarities regardless of industry. So first, he said when he speaks with brands before it launches into the market, they're doing focus groups. Get 15, 20 people in the room, have other respective products there along with this brand that wants to get positioned and get feedback, I tell brands to do focus groups all the time. You cannot just create something blindly by yourself and think that it's going to resonate with hundreds to thousands of people. No, you have to do focus groups. And it's so important because then it helps you identify who is your real audience, your true audience, or the ideal client, to then know how you're going to talk to them, who are the competitors that your ideal client speaks to and looks at and purchases from, what's the buying power. It starts to get really deep to then determine what is that effective marketing strategy. So that's the first thing. Focus groups is a must. The second thing that he talked about is your product has to dance. Guys, y'all know I am in packaging. Packaging is the first impression of your brand. The product is what keeps them coming back, and the experience is what keeps them in the pipeline. So if your packaging is not on point and it doesn't have the visual identity, if the information rubs off, I cannot stand that with brands because they're using at home printers and not investing into quality print to make sure that the ink does not rub off. Missed opportunity, and I'm going to, unfortunately, as a consumer, no longer purchase from you because of the aesthetics, and then I don't even know how to get back in contact with you because the information rubbed off, or the label peeled off, or there is no label. He talked about visual identity, and then the third thing that he talked about, it was 3 points. Don't rush it. Product development, packaging development, and launching to the marketplace takes time. It takes capital. It takes resources. So the workforce, like he talked about, guys, I say the same thing. It goes to show you similarities, even in different industries. Second point, make sure your visual identity is on point. And then third point, which is something really critical, a lot of brands don't really think about, is start at home. And that's just like home training. A lot of us have kids.
Yep.
You gonna make sure that the home training for your kids start at home. So when you get out in public, the grocery store, friend's house, whoever, don't go out here showing out because you had a home training because it starts at home. So same philosophy with you all's brands as well. So he gave y'all a whole masterclass, and that's just a snippet of what you're going to expect during the collective behavior tour. And I appreciate you for also sharing that too, because with me working in the CPG space, beauty space, they think, oh, it's just applicable to that market. It's any product that you're creating. No, it's not just beauty. It is every product that you're creating. T-shirt line, beauty line, wine line, pharmaceutical line, candle line, whatever line. If it's a product, it's the same thing.
Absolutely. It's the importance of color, font. All those things make an impactful difference. It's the difference between picking up and not picking up. The color, the font, the design, all of that stuff. So
even like the sensory part. So when I pick up a bottle and if the label has texture, if the font or the typography has a raised print on it or embossing with a nice gold finish, like those sensory things makes a difference to be like, oh, this is nice, so
you're right.
It's the whole experience. So guys, please take these notes and into consideration, and you need to be following him as well to connect with him on LinkedIn. His information is down in the show notes, and also if you're watching our YouTube videos, click the link on the screen to connect with him on LinkedIn as well to follow his journey. A lot of great insight. Okay, so since we're still on packaging and products and quality, I want to ask you, so you talked about the importance of the aesthetics, talk about the importance of a focus group, which is definitely needed. So now since you're starting to think about that and now you're thinking about how to craft the marketing strategy to know if they should go D2C, because you talked about limits depending upon certain states and where you're shipping to, versus wholesaler, working with wholesalers versus retail. How do you start to incorporate the end market into the marketing mix respectfully for wine and spirit space?
When you say the end market, you mean to the customer?
Yes, to the customer.
I want to say to each his own, but not really to each his own, right?
Right.
Again, it depends. Let's start again. That goes back to budget. We think about, okay, what makes sense? I'll give you an example. Black Mama Vodka has 25,000 buyers online. She doesn't and she can ship to all 50 states. Right. So that sounds like a lot, then it don't, but then again, you think about it. These are people who and I had this conversation with her because I wanted to know, like, well, why are you not in this state, in this state, in this state? And she said, well, I have a community that support. I built this community over the last 6 years. Wasn't a day or two. It took her 6 years, and it really didn't. She said it really didn't kick in until 2020. So 2020 was really a step for a lot of people to get awareness to themselves that's been in the game.
Right? Yeah.
So it worked. So her doing online products to customer makes sense for her, right? For a brand like even like Ron Isley, it makes sense because he has a identity himself, right? Yeah. So that makes sense for him. But for a brand like, we'll just say a Monte Vista, nobody knows you. Nobody's familiar with you. I don't see any billboards, or I haven't heard anything about you. Not a celebrity, those kind of things. So you have the work to get it to the customer starts with getting it to the distributor first. And that distributor, now here's the tricky part that I learned and didn't even know that this was the way until 2000. I learned this in 2017. Realizing that you assume that a distributor is going to pick up all product. It's not right. Even once you get your license and all that stuff, paperwork done with the state of Michigan, you must have a distributor wanting it first, right? You can get half the paperwork done, but that distributor, you have no ADA, no distributor, then what are you doing? So once you get that, and that is a waiting game in itself. A distributor, you can send your bottle. So I'm a distributor, you send me your product. I probably didn't get it for 3 months or didn't even look at it or pick it up. Wow. So you have to continuously follow up, like every 2 days, not every week, every 2 days, you follow up. Or you find a person on the ground that's familiar with that state or that place, and we're talking out when you're not in that state, and you make sure that person is not gonna or has a relationship with a distributor. I hope I'm answering this right. Have a relationship with a distributor, and then getting that distributor to sign off on it, approve it, is a challenge. Now that's step one. Step two is once you're in that state, you need boots, what Amani like to call boots on the ground. You need people who can move around, salespeople, literally. Even though you may have a distributor, and that distributor is supposed to have their workforce work your product into stores, that's not always the case. 98% of the time, it's not the case if you're not a major brand, because they work, they're trying to make their money every week, so they pushing the agenda of what is popular. So if you're not popular, you need people on the ground, you need to stay in their face, and you need again, in order to stay in their face, you need to look like something, right? Yeah. So that goes back to that. And then you need to, once you're good, if you taste like something, now you got 2 wins. So the work is so interesting at that point. And this is before it gets to the retailer. So it's the distributor. And here in Michigan, it's 3-tier: distributor, retail, consumer. Supplier, distributor, retail, then consumer. So once you get into the retail space, right? You get into a retail space. In retail spaces, you need at least a minimum first month. You want to at least have 10 spaces so you can go to each space and do a sampling and tasting, right? Which is liquid to lips, which is very important for a new product. But you also got to understand, you may get into a store, into what I would like to call a suburban area, right? And then you may get into a store in an urban area. Now, those are going to be two different consumers. It's great. It's great for testing, though, right? Yeah. You have a box. It's great to test the market. Let's see who's what. So you may do great in the suburban store. You may do not so great in the urban store. So you fuel the suburban store and work on the urban store. You find a place in the, maybe it's your delivery in the urban store. Maybe it's the person you have sampling. So you figure out what it is, because there's always a fix to everything, right? And then in the suburban store, you can just keep fueling that. So I think the steps is a long way to get from distributor to consumer. Once you get to the consumer is your most powerful asset. Because once you get to that consumer and you get a really good consumer base that really, really likes your stuff, they're going to share it internally. They're going to share it at work. They're going to share it with their friends, their sorors. Once you get that once you get them to speaking about you like that, you focus. You make sure you stay connected with them consumers too, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
invite them to stuff. You make sure that you build relationships. Every place that we've ever done work or work with, or stores that we've ever done a tasting or sampling in, we build a relationship. So the importance, distributor, build a relationship. Retail, build a relationship. Consumer, build a relationship, because you have to. You need that consumer to go back. You need that retailer to keep ordering. You need that distributor to keep providing, right? Because in the state of Michigan, if you don't sell a certain amount of cases in that year, that calendar year, they'll delist you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't
So
know it was that short of a time frame, to be honest.
yeah, and I think it's 12 cases, 12
Oh,
line liters. Yeah, so it's not a lot, right?
okay.
But
Okay.
imagine, but it is very difficult to sell 12 cases for some products.
Wow. And why
Yeah.
do you think that is? Is that the
Because
marketing? Is
it's
that boots on the
it's all of those things.
Okay.
It's all of those things combined. And it could be the product, right? Could be
Yeah.
the packaging. Nobody's seeing it, right? The store. So if the store don't support it, the store is gonna leave it there. He bought it, so he's gonna leave it there. And eventually it's gonna go on sale for a few dollars, and he's gonna not want to carry it anymore. But that's making sure you build a relationship. We've been fortunate enough here, me and my team, that like I said, we started in the 2017, 18.
Yeah.
And the way we are, our character, the way we move, our smile, our laughs, and our energy
Yeah.
is what it is. Like, we are naturally who we are. So it's like, we're not salespeople. We're people who love people and love what we do, right? And we stand behind. If you give me a great product, it's like, it's a no-brainer for us. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I
No, you did. No, you did, and you even brought it around to another question that came up when you were talking about, like, in the state of Michigan, it's really like four tiers: supplier, distributor, retailer, and consumer.
Yeah.
So when you think about those four tiers, and you have a year to sell 12 cases, in the state of Michigan, I'm sure it varies with each state.
Yeah.
Usually, how long of a time frame do you share with brands, like, of what to expect with creating the identity of the brand, the mission, the ethos, all those things, to selecting the packaging, to having a quality product, so knowing the ingredients, composition, distillery, all the whole process, to then getting the supplier, distributor, retailer, and then the end consumer? What time frame would you say from beginning to end to do that on average?
That's a great question. Oh my goodness, that's an excellent question, because people think they can do it right now. Like, hey, I got my product 30 days. No. 60 days? No. 90 days? Absolutely not. Right? And what I mean by that is because there's so much work in between. And
Yeah.
also if there's no budget there, because money makes things move. Everything requires a cost. I mean, it's just what it is.
It is. Yeah.
What everything costs. I mean, the state take their percentages before you even ship. I mean, as soon as you ship, they cut. They want their money
Right
You'll
there.
get it right then. Right, let me get that right. So if you don't have a strong strategy, including budget for that state specifically, I'll give you an example. So the whiskey brand it's just Uncle Nearest, right? So Uncle Nearest, the way they came through Michigan and most likely all the states, they were ready already. Nobody would tell them no because they ready. So when you're ready, nobody's going to get in your way. Nobody's going to tell you no. Nobody's going to stop you. Your packaging, A+. Your liquid, A+.
Yeah.
Your leadership, A+.
Yeah.
Your marketing strategy to the market specific, no holes in it. Meaning, what that means is you're not afraid to spend money in that market, even when you're not making the money yet, right? So that brand spent the first year probably $180,000 in the market. That first year probably sold less than 150 cases. That wasn't the point, right? The point was the following year, right? The point, when I say the following year, where we were able to sell 300 cases a month, right? You see the difference? You see, so you have to believe in yourself enough to say, you know what? I know my marketing budget is supposed to be the highest item number on in your budget. Supposedly it has to be.
Yeah.
Because without visual, what you got?
Yeah.
So in order for people to hear me, see me, for us to work the market, for us to put up billboards, whatever we collectively deem it take to move this specific product, well, let's do that. We got to take a chance on it. Why? Because those other brands have 20 times more than what we have. And they spend money to keep us out of the light, right? So you have to battle that, which means you have to be very creative. So while they up here doing billboards, you got to be in the community, deep. I'm talking about west side, east side, north side, south side, all at the same time.
Yeah.
See, that's how we ran it. We ran it like a concert. We ran like a comedy tour, right? So we have comics who go on tour and they tour 5 different clubs in the same night. So they can make $2,000, right?
Okay.
Comics at that, here they was, we're not talking top flight comics, we're talking local comics. So in order for them to make $500, they got to do 5 shows in 5 locations. So we picked that up and we would move around. We'd do 4 or 5 takes in a day, right? And and people start talking from each direction. So once you have each corner, call it corner, each corner activated, right? It doesn't matter how much traffic come through, they're gonna stop at one of them corners at some point. And that's what happened. So, and that's how we drove it home. So when I think about that timing, because timing is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, literally it's everything. So from the beginning, if you don't come out the gate hot and ready, you're not ready. So you got what I mean by that, if I want to move based on, let me rephrase, your movement is based on what it look like first and taste like and what you're ready to do.
Yeah.
Are you ready to take this to Michigan and New York at the same time? Are you ready? And how do you know you're ready? If it's going to hinder you at any point, then you're not ready.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So you have to be mindful of that part. And then you have to be patient. Again, it goes back to, have you locked home down? Because if you lock home down, that means you got numbers.
Yeah.
That means you got proof of concept. So give me your proof of concept. I'll take it to these guys because they understand numbers and data, right? They understand numbers and data. They're like, oh, yeah, with a little push here, that dive, what you willing to spend in the market? Okay. Because if I'm in Chicago, I'm sorry, if you're doing well in Chicago, that's 4 hours away. That's easy. You're doing well in Ohio, that's less than an hour away. Okay, so you in Ohio, okay, you should drive to Chicago, then come to Michigan, and then keep in contact with us if you're going to distribute in these towns. And then at some point, I'll use Republic, for instance. So there's a Republic in those states. You're already in the Republic system, right? So build your numbers up and know that. So once you know that you're in a city where the distributor occupies all the cities and they can just punch your numbers in, they see you.
Yeah.
That's kind of placement you want. You want to at least be ready, like, I'm going to go with RNDC because I know they got an RNDC in the states that I want to be in. So let me build my numbers up home, take my time, build my numbers up at home, and then boom, I'll present to them in January like, yo, I sold 1,900 cases in Ohio. This is what we looking like. This is what I foresee for Michigan. It's a corner, et cetera, et cetera. This is how many people from Michigan came. Yeah, all them numbers. They understand that number game, right? So
absolutely.
So from beginning to end, you're looking at no less than a year.
Okay.
No less than a year, right? Because there are times, what's need to be understood also is that there are times when they accept and there are times when they don't. Fourth quarter, you can forget about it.
Yeah.
Right? So fourth quarter, we talking September, October, November, December. By October 15th, you're gonna wait till January. So it's already the waiting game.
Yeah. They get ready for holiday sales in October. Yeah.
So they already got everything they need. That's including those major retail stores too that we get products in. It's a lot of work. Now, that one thing I will say is this, and I learned this most recently, is that a store like Total Wine, they're a little different. Total Wine is they like NWA when they first came out.
Okay.
You feel?
Yeah.
Did not care, had everything in order, and they was like, yo, you got a product, we like it, do business directly with us. We'll put you in all our stores that we got. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things that are different for a lot of people. And it's a lot of opportunities. You just got to do your homework, do your research, because you could fall into a space where it's a brand called Stock the Bar. Stock the Bar vodka from West Michigan, Grand Rapids here. He don't sell anywhere else in the United States.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So there's a store called Meyer. Meyer has over 219 stores here, right? He's in all those stores.
Wow.
He's also the vodka of choice in the Grand Rapids airport or their restaurants.
Wow.
You see what I mean by taking care of home?
Yeah.
That's home. And his characteristics, he donates to the Boys and Girls Club. He gives a customer appreciation festival in Grand Rapids.
Wow.
Right? He's a barber and he still cuts hair.
Wow.
Right? So who he is got him where he is because he's a great guy. He has a good product.
Yeah.
He went home first. He said, hey, this is what I got. This is where I'm from. I went to this high school. This is who I am. This is my wife. Been married 20-something years. He has this whole story. Stock the Bar started in my basement. People come in. I say, hey, Stock the Bar. You got to bring your own product. Right? So it just, I mean, when I think about him, I'm super proud of him. Like, I'm super proud of him because he is the example. It's the example that I tell people, like, start here first because sometimes you may not even need to go anywhere else. If home is taking care of you, we're talking 2019 stores a case. Come on, 2-3 cases a month at each store. Listen. Look, the travel time is at a minimum. Your expenses to deliver is at a minimum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and he also attracted people that felt like that, those folks who could, because it's a Michigan owned product. So he can use that, right? He's African American owned product. He got that. It's just a lot of great things. And he was patient. He started in 2019 late. And he just was patient. And he just took his time and he just kept moving. And I'm like I said, I'm just super proud of him. So that's one of those examples.
Yeah. And I appreciate you for being honest and transparent about it because, like you said, people think 30, 60, 90 days you can launch a product. And you be like, no. That's just the minimum time frame just to figure out what is the launch strategy.
Yeah.
That's not including development and sourcing and procurement and focus groups and building the relationship with the suppliers, the distributors, the retailers and consumers and such, or what you call it, liquid to lips, doing the sample tastings in the retailers and stuff like that. And I love the Stock the Bar brand that you highlighted and really talked about because, like you said, it's going back to be home, take care of home first and the impact. And one thing that you mentioned earlier, similar to how you talked about the collective behavior tour, is partnering with history and the energy and the impact. So Stock the Bar is representative of what your tour represents, how I can see the coincide, with your affiliation and Stock the Bar, and also Stock the Bar's impact, in Grand Rapids area, from tourism, travel, to all the local Myers grocery store, to volunteer with Boys and Girls Club. Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club. I'm a product of Boys and Girls Club myself in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
So it's all part of building the community and the collaboration, but staying home and also being patient because, guys, building out a product takes time. It takes resources. There's multiple iterations you have to go through to get that right mix from the product to the packaging to the aesthetics to the story, all of those things. It takes time. And I'm so glad you talked about it and just the transparency around it as well. And so we can have this conversation all day, but I'm going to ask you one final question before we get into our power round. Because you talked about logistics and you even talked about with the Stock the Bar example, how he's staying local, his logistics, shipping costs is lower than transporting to other states. And so thinking about the weight most wine and spirits are in, primarily the packaging is glass, different types of glass, right? So what do you recommend to brands that are thinking about their transportation and logistics, how they need to be thinking about their budget around that and incorporating into the mix and the price point of the product that they're selling.
Yeah, that part is interesting. So I think brands, when it comes to their budget and moving their product around, I mean, it's the difference it's the difference between paying the rent and the mortgage.
Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
difference between that. So I think again it goes back to patience, going back to looking at what you have. Because again, we didn't talk about how much it costs for liquid and bottles and caps and labeling all individual prices. I think it's important to just to be patient and really
Yeah.
really know that, okay, is this a long-term relationship or this is short-term, right? And if it's a long-term relationship, it's watching and paying attention and do your research. I heard a person say the other day, and this is a different industry, but it has the same impact. It's an actress. So we held I know I'm getting into something. I'll pull back from it. I just want to use it as an example.
Okay.
We held what we call a call time. We had 780 people come out to our thing called call time. I saw one actress that I was able to briefly have a conversation with. She said that I don't watch any other actresses or any people who giving these classes. She said, because I just want to be my own person. Right. That didn't teach me anything other than the fact that you don't want to be taught or you can't be taught because you think that this is something you could learn on the fly. It is not, because there are rules and regulations to this thing. There are things that will get a definite no, an absolute no, and there's nothing you can do about it. There are things that nothing else is absolute, but that no could be. The yes is almost, but the no, if it don't align with what it's supposed, it's going to be a no, right?
Yeah.
So I look at that, like, how much do you invest time and money into what it is? So, that's a great question. It's just you gotta have your mind right for it. And number two, like, you really gotta map that out coin for coin.
Yeah.
Rip that out coin for coin. I hope I answered that. That was a good question.
I know it's a deep question, and it's so many layers of the onion that you could peel back with that. But since logistics and transportation is such a critical component to get to retailers and distributors, well, excuse me, from the suppliers to distributors to the retailers and consumers, a lot of don't think about it. And they're like, oh, I want to ship to all 50 states. And you're like, well,
Yeah. So you better have, I mean, and then the other part is that they try to box you with drivers and delivery services that they know, which is obviously higher than, again, just doing that research. Because I know some gentlemen out of New Jersey and out of Atlanta, Black-owned trucking company that has their license to, carry spirit products and things like that. It is really doing that research. And also you have to be collective. Like, if I have a tequila and you and I are in the same state and we're shipping to the same state, let's figure that out. Let's figure out a schedule.
Each other's costs.
Right?
Yes.
Let's figure out a schedule. Let's figure out what we can do collectively to chop that cost down. Because again, that's my whole point. It's like when we were able to get 10 brands at one time into these Meyer locations, it was a collective effort.
Yeah.
It wasn't me coming as one supplier saying, hey, I got this whiskey, that. They hear that all the time. What they don't hear is, you got what? You got 10 Black-owned brands that are available in Michigan. You got wine, tequila, vodka, whiskey, and champagne. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And you're presenting them all at the same time, and the packaging is tight, and you want to put it on an end cap, which is the most visible space. Yeah, that's what I want. Make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And so to accept it, because they're like, look at all the dots and T's are crossed, and then the relationship is there.
Yeah.
So if it's coming from an individual who has a relationship with a major now watch how this part works. So if it's a major retail store, and that major retail store tells that distributor, hey, we want these products, that retail therefore like, we have a major retail request saying so I'm subject to call Fort Mose as a distributor, Fort Mose, hey, we're going to push your paperwork through. When can you ship? Because now we have this retailer asking for it. And that retailer is asking for it based on the relationship they got with a person like me. See, I'll go past. See, I told the distributor, I tell every every single group of people I talk to is if I don't want to talk to anybody that can't make a decision, meaning if you're a distributor, I'm only talking to the person making the decision. You're not talking to me like I'm some regular person coming in.
Yeah.
If you're the retailer, same thing. If you're the major retailer, same thing. Because I know that if you're not the retailer, you have a script that you're supposed to say, and I don't want to be a part of that. So I need a person who can say, tell me yes or no, and that person can sign something. Exactly. I don't need you to say, let me look into that. No.
We need signed purchase orders over here.
Come on.
So we can be ready to dispatch these trucks on a full truckload. We don't want no LTL. Right. We want a full truckload to maximize the space to have the 10 brands be on there to be on the end cap for the retail shelf. Because guys, we didn't even get into the retail placement of this brand because that's a whole other class. That's a whole nother class. But if you are in Miami, Houston, Brooklyn, Atlanta, and Detroit, because that's home base, you need to be at the Collective Behavior Tour. And so those links will be down in the show notes for you all to get involved, to start previewing some of the brands that's going to be there, for you to start to make sure you get registered so you can attend these classes. I say a student, and y'all know I'm primarily in CPG space, health, beauty, wellness. And I've done food and beverage, but wine and spirits is a whole different game. So I'm there to learn as well. So make sure you do get involved, share it with a friend. Y'all know I believe our net worth is based upon our network. So share this with at least 5 people in your network. Then tell them to keep telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Y'all know the deal, because we say the same thing on our podcast every time. So now we're going to get into closing it out for today's segment with our power round. So it's going to be 90 seconds of fun, fast facts about our guest. So he shared with us that he owns a t-shirt company. He also writes poetry. And then he gave us another fun fact today, which is he was a DJ as well. So we're going to put 90 seconds on the clock, see how many questions he can answer. This is not rehearsed. This is on the spot. But I believe he can do it because he comes from film, entertainment industry. I think he's going to knock it out the park. So I'm going to put 90 seconds on the clock. You ready? Okay, let's get it. So since you were a DJ back in the day, tell us what will be your top mix that you will play in a lounge or a club.
It will be, so the Run DMC they did in Crush Groove. Okay. They came on the stage and we go, run, 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 run. Okay. Run. That was it. That was my lead in. Then I go into I'll go into some Houdini and Cool J after that. So.
Ooh, okay. I like all 3 of them. That's a good mix. Okay. So tell us the name of your t-shirt company and what is the purpose behind the name?
So it's Every Day I'm Okay. You're exactly what you tell yourself. It is a positive brand apparel. It encourages people to believe and build confidence and aware and self-affirmation.
Okay. Because every day we are okay. We are okay. That's amen. Right. Okay. If your poetry could describe a t-shirt brand in one line, what would it say?
Fantastic.
Powerful. One word. I like it. Since you write poetry, share with us one of your favorite stanzas from your poem.
I knew you were going to do that.
Put you on the spot.
A peace of mind is hard to find. You're seeking your search while your eyes lead you blind. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Okay, we got 5 more seconds. Okay. So name at least 3 spirit brands that have standout packaging and an exquisite product or flavor.
Oh, shoot. Duke and Dame, Island John Vodka, Tom Bullock, Birdie Brown, Fort Mose, Ingenious Gin. Who else do I love? Oh, and Murmur Rum, which is gorgeous. That's a gorgeous bottle, by the way.
Ooh.
Frisky Whiskey got a gorgeous bottle. Vodka got a gorgeous bottle. Red Hazel got beautiful labeling. Man. Ooh. Yeah, that's it. That's good. I get more.
You gave us the top 12. I love that. The fact that you can just run them off like that. Yeah. And we're going to put all those brands down in the show notes for y'all too. So y'all can go patronize them, look them up. You will see them also be featured during the Collective Behavior Tour as well. So guys, this was such a phenomenal segment. And I so appreciate you for coming on, sharing some wisdom, allow me to be a student, to learn from you in the wine and spirit space. So let everybody know how they can get in contact with you and all the things that you're involved in.
Well, thank you for having me. So Lazar Favors on Facebook, Instagram, and first of all, Facebook, Instagram, but fan base. Get over the fan base. Taste the Black Spirits on fan base. Taste the Black Spirits Instagram. I'm saying fan base because that is the future. Fan base is the future. And I don't work for fan base. I just love that platform. It's a black owned platform. We all need to be on it.
Okay.
You can reach me on my numbers. I think my phone numbers are everywhere. Oh, and
Okay.
definitely LinkedIn for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And guys, all of his information will be down in the show notes for you all. Please get involved with him. His network is phenomenal. And like I said, our net worth is based upon our net worth. So you heard from Mr. Lazar Favors right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse, where he is being a partnering with history in the local community, also with high energy, building relationships with people, and also educating Black-owned brands in the wine and spirit space on the importance of crafting an effective marketing strategy, really being realistic with the time frame, and also making sure that you tap into your local community so you can be a pillar in the community and have that local impact. Black owned brands spend over $3 billion in this space. And so we want to help make sure that we are giving access to these brands, showcasing them for diversity in the space. So that way you all can patronize them as well. So thank y'all so much for tuning into today's segment right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. Make sure you give us some love and 5-star ratings on your favorite platform and also connect with our Powerhouse guests. So we'll see you on the next segment.
Thank you. I appreciate it.